An unmitigated disaster for the second week in a row for the New York Jets. This time, though, it was at an international stadium at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in London, where the New York Jets suffered a brutal 23-17 loss to former Jets first-round pick Sam Darnold and the undefeated Minnesota Viking. Let's get into the tape. Really not pretty, but let's see what the Jets can improve on. Who better to bring on to talk all things New York Jets, the New York Jets content creator, Mr. Dayne O. That and much more on a Monday evening edition of NY Flight Jets Talk.
Jets, Jets, let's go.
Jets wide receiver Wesley Walker. Wesley, how you doing today? ESPN writer Mr. Rich Samini, Jets reporter for The Athletic, Mr. Zach Rosenblatt, Hall of Famer and Jets legend, Mr. Marty Lyons.
Your host, Connor Law.
Welcome in everyone. We are here on a Monday evening, and unfortunately, for now the second Monday in a row, we are not here to celebrate Victory Monday as the New York Jets fell to 2-3 on the season by losing 23-17 to the undefeated Minnesota Vikings. We're gonna get into the tape on this, Monday evening here of Jets therapy, if you will, with our guest Dayne O Jets. Dayne O, what's going on, my man?
Hey, not much, Connor. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. It is great to have you on here. We did work something out, last minute. We are also simulcasting here on your channel, so make sure you smash that like button on both channels, and you are subscribed to both channels at Dayne O Jets at NY Flight Jets Talk. We do appreciate the support, but Dayne O, the tape wasn't pretty. Before we get into the tape, I just wanted to get your initial thoughts on the game. The Jets had so many chances to win this game. They continuously just shot themselves in the foot, whether it was offensive miscommunication, some things that were out of control for the Jets. So there were some pass interference calls that were questionable. Sauce Gardner with the two interceptions that he should have hauled in. Well, overall thoughts on the game?
Dude, bad. For one, we had to get up early, right? I
Yep.
don't know. I don't know when you guys are used to watching or getting up on Sundays. It was early for me, man. It was early, and just frustrating because how many games do we have to get, like, how many games do we finally start playing and it's the third quarter? Like,
Yep.
why? It's just making, it's like we're making things so hard on ourselves, and it's disheartening. It really is, because I didn't expect to still be having problems week 5. And yeah, maybe some problems, but not to the magnitude that we're seeing. It's just very frustrating, because, like, simple things are being difficult. Like, I think we all kind of took for granted how many yards Brees was guaranteed to have this year, how many Garrett was definitely going to get. And it's like, we can't count on that anymore. We cannot. Like I said, the simple things are hard right now. We'll iron it all out, but, like, we can't wait too long. We can't. We are lucky that Monday night we have a chance at the
Yep.
division lead, but I fear, and this is a little far ahead, but I fear that it's going to be rather difficult for us to get a wild card, just because of, like, we lost to Denver, and, like, if no one else loses to Denver, that's going to hurt, and we got to win the division. We got to. But as far as the game on Sunday, very, very saddened by it. It was frustrating. The penalties were horrific. I don't want to blame
Yes.
that. But when you see people that aren't Jets fans and in the national media saying, like, this is insane, you know that we're not just using it as an excuse. So, got to clean it up, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned, Brees and Garrett there not being able to count on them. Both of them have struggled. Garrett actually had a better game, I say, on on during week 5 against the Vikings than expected. He did have a touchdown, his first touchdown on his first touchdown on the season. I'm a big fan of both Brees and Garrett, but they're going to need to some way somehow work themselves out of these slumps. Braylon Allen, we did see him get an increased workload and snaps. However, that did not really work. He struggled with one of the lowest graded Jets according to Pro Football Focus. You just look and like you said, they're struggling to do the simple things, which I think is a problem. So, nonetheless, we are going to get right into the tape. Let me see here. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, here we go. If
You
we
know,
go.
it was pretty
Mhm.
nice not to have 10 pre-snap penalties. I'll say that, but
Yes. The
just
offensive
trading
line,
them,
though, still. Yep.
dude. Yes, and trading them for pass interferences. Nah, that's not the move.
Absolutely. Make sure. Can you guys see my. Oh, the clip is playing. Are you guys able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. Let's get right into it. We're gonna start 12:51 to go. Oh God, it keeps. Okay, let's see if we just go. Okay, guys. Sorry, guys. This is our first time doing this live on the air. Here we go. We're gonna reduce the play speed here so you guys can see exactly what is happening. Okay, so you look in Sam Darnold under center. Aaron Jones in the backfield. They're pinned back, fairly deep around the 11-yard line there. The player to watch here is Javon Kinlaw, number 54. You look, he's working on center and guard. Watch, he does a great job of spinning off. He cuts across the field to get Jones. The problem is clearly, misses him. Jones evades the tackle, and then it ends up being DJ Reed and Chuck Clark who collapsed there to get him down, which was good for a 9-yard gain. And those are the gains that just seem to kill the Jets because those add up over time. And that was a play. Javon Kinlaw, you look there, did a great job of spinning right off the defender, marching across the field, but he couldn't get him down. And then that's a 9-yard gain. Someone I know who you're a big fan of, Chuck Clark. You have his jersey. He's looked great against the run. There are some other clips I have of him stopping the run from all the way back in the secondary. Like I said, just those that needs to be blown up in the backfield. Thoughts on that play there, Dane?
Correct. You know, I think a play like that, you saw how congested it was in the middle, right? If you get a chance at him, you got to take him down because what did
Yep.
he do? He bounces it outside, and I don't think we're set up in that play to stop Aaron Jones out by the numbers there. So you got to wrap him up, and that's one thing we saw out of Will McDonald, man. His long arms, he gets a guy like that down. Kinlaw, got to get it, man. Got to get it.
Absolutely. Speaking of Will McDonald, I do have a really nice play here from McDonald. Dane, we all know here. I'm gonna share my screen here in a minute, but we all know that the spin move is what That's McDonald's. The key. That's what his tactic is. That's why he has 6 sacks this season. Good for the second most in the league here. But I'm gonna share a clip of McDonald. He's working on Christian Durasaw. A top tackle. He's emerging right now in the league, number 71 there. Look at this great spin move by McDonald. He's not able to sack Darnold, but Darnold does a great job of evading pressure. Solomon Thomas also gets out, but he ends up throwing the ball away, and it's an incomplete pass. Watch McDonald right there. Donald working on Darisaw, just a spin move, cuts back inside. Darnold spin move out. Solly has a chance to get him. Same with Quinnen. They're unable to catch up with him though, and it's thrown away for an incomplete pass. Dane, that was an interesting play there because McDonald's normally someone. I do have a clip also of him. One of his sack in the where really took the Vikings out of field goal range. That was huge. One of the first possessions of the game. What were your thoughts on that play? Because McDonald normally someone he kind of uses his speed on those plays. You'd expect him to get someone like Darnold, who's not particularly mobile. You'd expect him to get Darnold on the ground there. He doesn't do so. Solomon Thomas, Quinton Williams, two interior defensive linemen have a shot. They don't do it. Thoughts on that play?
Maybe you can show it one last time while
Yep.
I'm talking here. I love his spin move. I really do. No wasted movement whatsoever. It looks like he might have just over pursued him. I think it's one of those things where, like, when he does it, he's spinning himself, so it's a little weird to get oriented, I guess.
Yes.
But like when you beat a guy that cleanly, it's like, you're like a
Yep.
kid on Christmas, and he just over pursues. So I think in December again, I keep talking about December, but like I guess what I'm saying is once he gets more comfortable, he'll know, like, once I bust that, it's not over till you get the guy, right? You haven't won until Darnold is in the dirt. So you gotta chill after you bust. You get rid of the first guy. Calm down. Do your job.
Absolutely. Let's keep it going. We have, an offensive play here. Brees Hall. Let me exactly get to the play so I can share my screen. Okay, here we go. It should be, and then if I okay. Let's see, let me know if you guys can see my screen in three, two, one. Okay, there we go. Let's go full screen here. Slow it down a bit so we can see exactly what's occurring here on this play. Okay, Brees Hall in the backfield. Rogers under center. This is a really interesting play. I'm going to look more at the tight ends. Ruckert, he's motioning out, cuts back in, and this is where it goes wrong. We know we had a talk before the show, Dane, about Ruckert and Bates, and this is just, their poor run blocking, and this is it at its finest, really. Look, Bates goes for number 6, he completely whiffs. Ruckert goes for number 6 as well. Kind of checks him, but not good enough. And then just all the Vikings defenders, they blitz there. They all just collapse on Hall. Good for no gain. We've talked about how poor the Jets tight ends have been, and just really, run protection, excuse me, yeah, run blocking, and that was one of the worst plays from those two. As you see, Bates completely whiffs on number 6, while Rucker goes from and barely hits him. It's one thing if you're both gonna go for the same guy and you at least stop him and contain him. It's still not great. However, that was not the case. Bates whiffs. Rucker's unable to really do much. Thoughts on that play?
Yeah, and I wonder, like you said, the odds are they weren't both supposed to get him. I wonder, was Bates just supposed to chip him and then Ruckert would get him? I don't know for a fact, but he didn't even chip him, and that's why Ruckert was late getting there because Bates didn't slow him down. I would like to see it, yeah, again here
Yeah,
real
we'll do slow
fast.
motion here. So Ruckert motions back out. Bates slow. He tries to hold him. Like I would have at best,
Yeah,
if he
that's bad.
contains him, that's a holding call. Like that's terrible. That's really. And I know, Dan. We were talking about this before. I think he's more serviceable than Kuntz just for the time being. For when Yaboa gets back, whether it's Monday night or it's in Pittsburgh. I know you will be at that game, Sunday Night Football against the Pittsburgh
Thanks.
Steelers in Pittsburgh. So just look at that. I have it stopped at a perfect time, and then you see Rucker darting
You,
across to kind of help him. Tyron Smith. Well, I mean, that's not great either. Just the whole offensive line, at
no.
least Tippmann and AVT are able to hold their guys in place. You see Olu downfield there. So it's just we see these plays time in and time out with the offensive line and just poor protection. When do you think this stops, and does it ever stop?
Right now on this play especially, it's like we're a second off, 1 second off.
Yep.
If Bates does slow him down, he's gonna set Rucker up to demolish that guy. I really could see that happening. But like we're not in sync. We're a step late. Maybe don't send Rucker on this crackback
Yep.
crossfield block. Why don't he just take the guy Tyron has? What he has to travel half as far, and then Tyron can get the other guy. I don't know about the schematic of the play. All I know is you can't be a second late. You cannot
Absolutely.
be a second late. It ruins everything. And I don't know the result of this play, but I imagine Brees didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, it
It
was
might be
no
the
gain.
one. Okay, all right.
Yeah,
Because I
no
know
gain.
there's one that Brees is like -5 on. It's just like,
Oh
dude,
yes.
this is just bad. Just bad. You got it? I don't know what we're doing Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, but it needs to be stuff. It's blocking. We got to get the blocking right.
Absolutely. Before we keep it going, we do have a question from Johnny Boy. Question for the panel: why did Aaron throw 54 times? Is that sustainable? Dane, take it away.
That ties right into what we're talking about, don't it?
Mm-hmm.
Can't run, so what are you gonna do, right? If you cannot run, and there's shots of Rogers where you can just tell that he's annoyed because we didn't block things the right way. Um, my blame was heavily on Brees because I saw how well Braylon was running in the first few games. That's even caught up though, and Braylon, it's the blocking, and it's not always just the O line. It's the tight ends, like you mentioned. They're not it either. Um, and I think a lot of it is just you got a new blocking scheme, right? I think guys
Hmm.
are trying to play while or think. They're trying to think while playing, and that makes you a step slow. You can't be thinking of what you're supposed to be doing in the middle of a play. So you got to get them up to speed somehow. You got a simulator or something for them? You gotta do something, man. You got to.
Everyone smash that like button. Make sure you are subscribed to both of our channels at Dayne O Jets, at NY Flight Jet Stock. Speaking of protection, we're gonna move over to a passing play. Aaron Rodgers. This is a play. Not really. It was an incompletion, deep incompletion to Garrett Wilson. I'm not really gonna hone in on the incompletion. More the protection here from left tackle Tyron Smith, the veteran. The player, one of the biggest I think offseason addition for Joe Douglas. All the hype, 1 year deal. He struggled to stay healthy. He's gotten off, safe to say, a poor start to his 2024 campaign. Let's take a look at this play. So you got edge rusher there. You got 58. Look at this. Shotgun snap, and already just beat right off the jump. You see him cut right to the outside. Smith's already late, so he's already off to a bad smart start, and he just cuts right around him. Brees Hall, you can't expect Hall to contain a edge rusher like that. We know it's really tough for a running back of the size, especially the size of Brees, to contain an edge rusher like that. But he tries his best. However, he's able to spin off. You look, and he's hitting Rodgers basically at the same time as he throws the ball, and then it's if you really look at that play and evaluate it, Dane, it wasn't too bad of a throw for Rodgers given the circumstances as he was hit when the ball was thrown. Initial reaction is Smith because if Smith holds his guy there, that's a 20-yard gain for the Jets because no one else, it's very rare that you see someone. If I had to make a prediction, just generally speaking on the offensive line, who would that most likely happen to? I'd say Olu Fashanu or John Simpson, something,
Yeah.
one of those two guys, but no, Tyron Smith, the veteran, is the one with the error there. If he holds his guy in place, buys time, anchors down against the bull rush, that's a completely different story. We're talking about a 20-yard gain. Jets keep the drive moving. Thoughts on that play there?
Yeah, he's a curious case, man. We really need a case study on what's going on there. Um, but honestly, he's late on that. He is late again, trying to catch up from behind. I think he's even looking a little top heavy for some
Yep,
reason instead of getting low after he's beat. That is, um, like
yep. Look, he's
you're not gonna
already there.
okay. You're already beat. You're not gonna win with
Hmm.
your arms now. Like I don't know the answer, but I just know that you can't just trail the guy the whole time. It's not going to help. And, dude,
And
every single one of these hits, while they don't take Rodgers out of the game, but you compound those over the course of a month, and
they add up.
yes, you cannot keep this up. You can't. You cannot keep this up.
I mean, if we are being nitpicky, I mean, I guess you could say Garrett. Like, look at that.
That,
That ball.
no, Garrett
That's a
spun the
nice
wrong
thrown ball.
way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. He's turned the wrong way. Like that could have easily been a completion. Just given already that I'm rewatching the play. I know it said it's a completely different story if there's no pressure, but even with the pressure in slow motion, his body's just turned the wrong way. You look, you see the ball there, practically in his hands. He cuts, maybe even half a yard, and it's a
Mm-hmm.
completely, just a completely different story. So
Move your
not
feet.
yeah, exactly. Not pretty there. And that's why I think this Devontae Adams edition, Dane, I'm sure we'll get into it after the tape, but I think the possibility of adding Adams is so important because the Jets have Alan Lazard. That's the one receiver, Aaron Rodgers has played with in his past. He seems to have the most chemistry with, but he's had a really hard time gelling with the other receivers, such as Garrett. We've seen nothing out of Xavier Gibson. Malachi Corley was a healthy scratch during yesterday's game. Tyler Conklin, I would like him to get even more, a little more involved. So it's, not Rodgers has not had that same chemistry with the receivers than I was expecting, especially given he had all of last year, where he tore his Achilles, and now this year he's struggling as well. So you got to hope he turns it around. But that's why I think the possibility of adding Adams is so important.
56 passes. I swear. I coming into this year, I thought that would take him 2 to 3 games to get
Yep.
because I thought that
Hmm.
we would be run first, and That truly is why we literally had whole drives on Sunday where it was what 8 passes, 0 runs. It's because the lack of success we you got to fix it obviously. You just got to find running lane. Even the running lanes are not very large. It's
Yep.
just it's not good.
Yeah.
And
We're gonna.
I
Yeah.
feel a little negative. I'm sorry, I'm leaning a little
Okay.
negative right now, but it's just there's a lot of bad that got released today on the all 22 angles, and if we just like we don't have to be perfect on Monday night, but if each thing gets 10% better, it'll be more than a 10% upgrade.
Exactly.
Like
Yep.
the whole will be greater than the sum of its parts. So like everybody got to do their 111th. They
Yep.
really do.
Absolutely. We're going to keep it going here. This is the one play. Darnold went down on the prior play. Nick Mullins is in at quarterback. It's a deep, deep, deep reception to running back Aaron Jones. This is an interesting play because Quincy Williams is fully lined up here as a cornerback on the outside on Jones. And Mullins obviously, no one near him. He drops back. This is really interesting because Quincy as a linebacker, he tends to be really, really solid in pass coverage. So he did struggle on this rep, though. You look, Jones kind of hits him with a bit of a rocker step, if you will, and simply just gets beat. And then you look at that there, that's just green grass. Mullins places that ball a little better further down the field around the 50-yard line, or opposing 45 or so, just lobs it in. That has the potential to be a touchdown, but no,
Yes.
luckily it was just a poorly placed football and a 26-yard gain, I believe it was, but he gets simply beat there, and he catches up towards the end. Like I said, poorly thrown ball,
Yeah.
very underthrown. Jones has to get up, catch that ball. The one play Sam Darnold was out on, he went down prior, and then Quincy Williams gets him, right down after the catch.
That's a
But
touchdown if you lead
yep,
him. That's a
exactly.
touchdown.
Yeah. So, what are your? I know you mentioned the touchdown there, but overall thoughts on that play, Quincy?
Um,
It's interesting because I haven't seen too much of Quincy. Again, I just started really diving deep in the all 22 as of the past 2 weeks because these two losses have been tough. But I haven't seen too much of Quincy lining up there.
no, no. Honestly, this reminds me of the Brees Hall when we sent
Yep.
him.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to go toast the linebacker, and it's not something you see all the time. But when you play certain running backs, you gotta be aware. And I do like that little chop step you
Yep.
highlighted there, because
I, I, I
when we
called it
have
kind of a rocker step because that's I think that's the name of Conklin's move, and it was kind of like
uh,
Conklin's move where he kind of cuts
fair,
in and then
I like
cuts
that.
back out. So I called it a rocker step there. Yeah,
Dude, let's do more of that with Brees. It's like when we
exactly.
send him out there, he's just expected to win with speed. It's like if he has the route running skills that Robbie Sabos he witnessed them
Yep.
all summer,
Uh
like
huh.
he did. So
He's been
like
high on Bruce. Yep.
you use them. Like he obviously needs his confidence. If you put him out there and he does something like that, and Rogers is not. I'm sorry, Rogers is not underthrowing that ball like that. That's for sure.
Yep.
That's a touchdown.
Not
And then
necessarily even
one
that, but yep.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just one minor thing. I really do think we're lucky that Aaron Jones got hurt in this game because he was killing us.
I said that before the game.
Yeah, it would. I don't know that we have that final drive with the ability of winning the game if Ty Chandler doesn't come in and fumble and just not look good the whole second half. So
It was
just
it was
something to think
yeah.
about.
It was really interesting. I said that entering the game because the Jets' run defense has been so bad. They continue to struggle even this game. So, and you mentioned Bruce Hall there, using him more on those plays. It doesn't even that would be great. Have him lined up outside as a receiver, but even maybe if they just try a bit of a gadget play, he runs a real route out of the backfield. Like that could even be something special. Cuts to the outside and then just runs it straight for. I think that could be something that's really effective for the Jets playbook. But they need to make changes. You talk about Ty Chandler there, and the last play involved Quincy Williams. This play involves both of them. It was the fumble that Quincy Williams recovered, but I think it should have been more than a fumble. I think it should have been a fumble return for a touchdown, and I'll show you guys why. First off, Quincy, you see him here. He's sorry again, wrong angle. It keeps messing up there. Okay, here we go. This should be good. At the end zone view, Quincy, he's kind of, looking, okay, what are they going to do? Are they going to go play action? Well, he's kind of sizing up what's going to happen, but you look at him there, he does a great job. Motion man, halfback toss. The ball just comes out into Chandler's hands. Like literally, he kind of catches it and then it just pops right out. He's unable to fully secure the ball. And Quincy does a great job. You see him there, just bulldozing through the defenders to come out, the two defenders, and get the ball. But look, I mean, you look there. He beats Chandler. He beats the tackle. Now all you have the quarterback Darnold left to beat, which unless it's an offensive lineman, that tends to be the easiest position to beat on one of these fumble plays. However, look, he even kind of stiff arms him, gets out in the jump. I'm sitting in my seat, Dane, at about the 15-yard line on that side of the field where Quincy's running, and I'm like, oh my god, this is gonna be a touchdown. But no, you look,
Yeah.
even though he stiff arms him, he gets tripped up by Darnold there, and it's just not great. He said after the game that should have been a touchdown, and he admitted
Yeah.
it. He's someone, he talked about holding people accountable. He said I'm tired of hearing that, and he said that should have been a touchdown. I need to be more of a leader. Thoughts on we saw the last play. Thoughts on Quincy's overall performance in that play as well.
Uh, like you said, he wedged through them two guys because he was bloodthirsty for that football. And
Mm-hmm.
I loved the first half of this play. Amazing. Second half, and I don't know if he knew how clear of a path he had behind him on the right because that's the only man, like you said, Mullins. If he would have just veered more toward the sideline to beat Mullins, to get Mullins, off of him, then he would have had it. But he wanted to just plow through that arm tackle, and it didn't pay off. But I'm not going to crush him for the second half of that play because
Yeah,
the first
absolutely.
half of that's what we needed.
Two offensive
And
line, yeah, just bulldozing through, and
yeah, and just seeing this by itself is amazing. But if you knew like the context of the game, where we were, it was an impact play at the exact moment we needed one. And I don't know, man. A couple years ago, you see a ball like that, the Jets don't come away with it. We couldn't get a damn fumble for many years. So, um,
yeah,
he talked after the game, like you said. He also said big words. He had less to say, but I think the power behind his words was something we haven't seen. Um, he said out of himself he wants to see more leadership come out of him.
yep.
I think he takes this film when they break it down. I think he does some accountability of his own in that locker room. Maybe I'm
Yeah,
dotting lines or whatever, but I can see it, man. He was pissed in that interview.
and I see this comment here from Nick T at Connor at NOFI Jets saw Connor a little hard on Quincy. The guy beat two linemen, recovered the fumble, stiff arm the quarterback. Not a mistake, a great play. Nick, I did say it was a great play. My thing is, and he admitted it after the game, that should have been a touchdown. It should have been. It was a great play. The fact he even got that ball, Dane, like you mentioned there, but still, I mean, that needs to. I'll show it again. He did beat the offensive lineman, but still, that's just I'm not going to call it. It's far from a boneheaded play because he did get the ball. It's just a tough play because out of all players, you wouldn't expect it to happen to someone like Quincy. But again, the Jets are a team that never are really known for recovering fumbles. We saw with Justin Jefferson, one of the first plays of the game, a little bubble screen, sauce jars it free. The Jets never are really known to recover fumbles, but the fact he even got the ball is great. I'm just saying his expectation, I believe, a caliber of a player like him, you're expecting it to go back to the house, but like nevertheless, great play there from from
And when
from
it's
Quincy.
when it's a
Mhm.
game like that, of course we're gonna microanalyze it. Like
Yep,
it's a six
absolutely.
six point game, man. If he puts that in, for one, what happened after that? Oh my God, that was terrible. We turn over on downs, they score the other way, just bad.
Yeah,
But dude, every little thing that could have happened slightly different. We needed everything. We needed everything in this game, and that's a missed op right there, like you said.
yeah, absolutely. We're gonna keep it going here. So we're gonna go to the 2:30 mark. I have two angles for this one because this is interesting. But the Aaron Rodgers pick six, Andrew Ginkle. So this is Ginkle, someone Van Ginkle, someone he spent time in Miami. We know the style of play he brings to the table. He's electric. He's a really solid player. He's on Conklin here. Let's go. We'll go full. And you see Conklin obviously lining up. And look at this. This is, I think, a poor read from Rodgers because it's a mix of a poor read from Rodgers and also a great play from Van Ginkel because he's it looks like they're blitzing. He's rushing. No, he adjusts. He realizes that Rodgers is throwing. He ends up dropping back into coverage. He sees that Rodgers wants to find Conklin on what appears to be a curl route and just jumps and tips the ball to himself and takes it back to the house. We'll get one more look at it there. Like I said, he drops back. He does a great job of identifying the pass and just cuts that off. Conklin wasn't even looking for the ball, so that is concerning. Let's say he even did get that. He got the ball off. That's concerning that Conklin didn't even have it, wasn't even looking for the ball. So it wouldn't even have probably been a completed pass if he didn't pick it off. But just it's a great play from Van Ginkel. I think Rodgers maybe could have adjusted and maybe pump faked, looked another way, or just gotten it out of his hands. Possibly could have been sacked because, look, he was getting hit around that same time. There was pressure being applied, but a really tough play. And we're going to look what happens since, that's Mike Williams. It sheds off Mike Williams. And again, he should have been down there. And then the offensive linemen, they're tough to blame because they're not necessarily the most speedy. But yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think that should have been taken back to the house. However, it was a great play.
You know what? Two things that Rogers is known for: back shoulders, right, and the quick slant. Man, the third and
Mhm.
five, fourth and five, whatever. Quick slant, back shoulders. Excellent job by Minnesota for watching our film and just knowing Rogers because they had at least two of the interceptions on what quick slant right there,
Yep.
and a back shoulder later on. It's sad, but Van Ginkel definitely telegraphed what we were doing. Now he might not have caught it cleanly, so it didn't really look like he telegraphed it, but I think he knew exactly what we were throwing there, and you can't be
Yeah.
that you cannot be that predictable. That is
That's the
one of
problem
the
with the offensive system.
correct, correct. So what do you do? Go into some of these situations knowing that they're gonna think they know what you're gonna do, and then do something to counter that. Like I would like us to do that. Okay, they're expecting a slant, so they're gonna do this. I'm gonna do a stop and go. Like
Yeah.
you got to start thinking about things that way because everybody thinks they can telegraph us now.
Absolutely. And speaking of predictable, this is a play. So, Jets on defense here. Aaron Jones, like I said, that was one of my worries for the Jets. Their poor run defense and obviously Aaron Jones, how he is just they're not afraid to just take the ball and run it straight with Aaron Jones. Watch this play. We talked about here. Let me go back to the other angle. I'm sorry about that for everyone who's watching. There is a difficulty with the angles, but this should be correct. We spoke about Chuck Clark, like you said. Like we spoke about. You have his jersey. You're a big fan of his game, his ability to
Man,
to stop the run, what he brings to the table. He's all the way dropped back into the safety position. He's kind of sizing up what they're gonna do. He notices Jones is running. He sees the gap there. He's like, "Oh
terrific
crap! This year,
blocking. Look at
exactly.
the
Look at
blocking
that.
there.
Exactly. Look, well, first off, the Jets thing that you don't have to worry. For example, McDonald is such a threat against the pass, but like we spoke about, since he only really has that spin move, he's not a threat against the run. He's horrible at stopping the run. So you only put one guy on him. Kinlaw, I'd say, is probably top him or Quinnen are probably two best at run stuffing. They put two on him, two on Quincy, and then I can't tell. I think that's Tack McKinley off the right end. So they do a great job of kind of the assignments there. Quincy and Jamian. Obviously, Quincy's looking to collapse here. Jamian's going to collapse in that hole. That is wide open. Now it's up to Isaiah Oliver who can collapse. Another safety just converted to safety, or Chuck Clark could just go crazy and run all the way down there. And he does just that. He notices it's a run play. It is a 7-yard gain, but he does a great job of collapsing and just preventing a disaster there. So you
Got
look,
to
he
watch
collapses.
Addison.
Yep.
Addison is coming for Clark too, so
Yep,
that
exactly. He's coming. He's trying to stop him because he
yes,
notices that Clark picks up on the run there, and he's doing everything he can to hold him in place. If he holds him in place there and doesn't, holds Clark, that's a first down because he's getting another
yeah,
3 yards if Addison's able to just anchor down and hold Clark. However, that's not the case. Clark comes in, and again, he still has to adjust there. It's not even like it was a straight shot downhill for him. He still has to adjust and cut back outside to stop Jones. So a great rep there from Clark. Thoughts on the play?
Just very good. Like I expect to see that a lot. There was another play by Clark where
Mhm.
uh, Jones, I think it was just hitting the second level, and it was Clark and the running back, and that's it. And he came up and chopped a guy right down, and that's one thing I am a bit of a homer for Chuck Clark, but he earned it from me. He really did. Like the amount of times that on that 2022 Baltimore Raven film that he would be
Yep.
taking running backs down in the second and third level was astonishing. Like, and that's the hardest thing you can do is when a running back has a full steam, and you got to make the tackle 20 yards down. If we can get everybody else up to speed, like our potential roster, blah blah blah. I'm falling into that trap, but like I, the vision is there. You got to execute. You've got to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We only have about 3 or 4 plays left here before we do wrap things up. But here's a sack here. Isaiah Oliver. I am going to share my screen. I think the sideline view, quite frankly, is actually the best view here on this play because kind of motions out. You'll see it in just a second. Okay, you look. Isaiah Oliver, number 23, right there. We'll run it from the top, and okay, you look kind of him and Quincy communicating. He comes out. Addison motions back out, and now, okay, you look where Oliver's officially lined up. There are a ton of things that which he can do. You see Jefferson there and Addison kind of outside. They're both, obviously Jefferson's more towards the inside, Addison's outside, but they're relatively close. You see Sauce there, and you see Tony Adams there. Anything could happen. The Vikings are thinking, okay, now he's in this position. They have 5 defensive linemen there. Jamian's probably going to drop back into pass coverage, in which he did. But Oliver is kind of a wild card if you think about it. He can drop back into coverage and pick up. It would most likely be Jefferson because he's right there. But there's a
Mm-hmm.
chance that he would just drop back since he's a safety and go right after Addison. But no, he decides to rush the passer. The Jets blitz. I spoke about it on my show leading up to the game. Darnold's great against the blitz. However, that didn't really happen here on this play. Oliver, he's just unaccounted for if you really think about it. No one's assigned to him. Comes right off the outside, attacks Darnold from behind the blind side, gets him down for a sack. Oliver's someone who was quiet. He had an injury throughout the summer, so he was quiet. He's had a great start to his season if you really think about it. More of an underrated piece. Same with Clark. Thoughts on this play?
I think we ran the same play against New England,
Mm,
and it was Chuck Clark in that spot. Chuck Clark,
the box,
he
yeah.
he,
He was in
he
the
more
box, yeah.
so, yeah, his was a lot more like timing, but the process of what exactly happened. I think it might be the same play, and guess what? We've been 2 for 2 with it. Um, I wonder if it's not something that teams will be looking at now. But hey, I love the idea of blitzing at the right moments. I think
Mm,
there's a lot of people watching us right now that they want to see more and more and more blitzing, but it's about strategic blitzing, right? Um,
absolutely.
and the moments we're blitzing a safety, I think, have been perfect as far as
Uh-huh.
their timing. Um, I would like to see a little bit more of it. Maybe a little bit more of the linebacker blitzes, though.
Yeah.
Because if it's not Oliver there that's freed up, then he can cover Sherwood's man, and then Sherwood's the freed up guy. One of those two is going to be the 11th man that's free. What are you going to do with it? I don't think we need to have a ball hawk in center field. So let's use that extra guy to get creative.
Yeah, you talk about ball hawk. I think Tony Adams, if you really think about it, I'm actually wearing his jersey right now. It's crazy to think that over the past few years he's been the ball hawk for the Jets. You think, speak it would be Sauce Gardner. However, no, he's dropped. He had 2 last game. I think he easily could have hauled in a bunch last season. He didn't record an interception last year. Tony Adams, I think, is someone who's really stepped up in that role, and that's something really interesting to watch. But like I said, only a few plays left here. Keep it going. Offensive side of the ball, 10:56 to play in the second quarter. I should probably, oh God, yeah, I didn't share my screen yet here. Okay, here we go. Share the screen. Shotgun formation finds Conklin deep. Let's take a look. Interesting set here, Dane. They have both Garrett and Brees lined up in the backfield, and what they end up doing here is Conklin, not Conklin, excuse me. Rogers just simple shotgun formation snaps. You know, excuse me, Garrett, yeah, on a bit of a flat route. Excuse me, play action to Brees on a flat. I'd say that's a wheel for Garrett, but we're gonna focus on Conklin here. He gets a nice jump and runs a beautiful post route, cuts, and I think that's a great job of where Rogers places the ball. That's something we've seen that he struggled a bit with this season. There is a play I do have where he did throw an interception where he just chucked the ball way far over Alan Lazard's head, but he does a great job there. I'll run it back, just fitting the ball through that tight window. Because if he underthrows that ball, Pat Peterson, he's an NFL veteran, he's a ball hawk. Easily he could have picked that off, but he fits it through a perfect window, right where Conklin
Facts.
wants it. We've seen Conklin; he loves those. He loves the balls there, right? High up in those tight windows. Thoughts on the play?
Definitely looks like they are in zone. I could be wrong, but he had to get it
Yeah,
over the
Mhm.
linebackers, but under the safety, and just great placement there. Great touch on that pass. And the play honestly reminded me of the two strikes we had to Conklin in the Commanders game last year. Obviously, it was a different quarterback, but he's Conklin is deadly between the hashes.
Yep, absolutely.
Deadly.
Yep.
I get it. Last the Sunday we were trying to involve Conklin a lot on the short stuff, and I do appreciate that because you know he's a bull, but you got to have him running hard when he catches it.
Hmm.
I don't like you doing a 2 yard out and wanting him to get seven out of it. He can, but hit him intermediate because he is a bear to bring down. So, love this. I want to see more of this, though.
Yeah, absolutely. I think getting the Conklin, he's such an underrated asset, Dane, and I think getting him the
He
ball
is.
more is such a key to success for this team's offense. Whether it's like that, or we've seen something they've kind of used him in the screen game where he just uses his power. We saw a lot of that
Yeah.
last year, especially with Zach Wilson, where they were afraid to really throw the ball down the field. We saw a lot of little check downs. That's where Conklin picked up the majority of his yardage. I'm really looking forward to see though what he can do with an improved quarterback in Aaron Rodgers this season. Let's see, keep it going. We have 9:32 in the second quarter. Braylon Allen here on the play. I think this was another one, Dane, that we put down for a Brendan Bates, Jeremy Ruckert kind of mishap. So we're gonna share the screen here. Go in. Braylon Allen in the backfield. He's lined up really far. That's something we noticed. We saw it on the fourth and is this actually the 4th and 2 play? Let's see. Let's see. I'll check to make sure. Oh no, this is the 3rd and 3, the play before 4th and 2. So we'll get into that. We'll get into the 4th and 2 play next. But here, this was 3rd and 3. Braylon lined up relatively deep and watch. Okay, so you see all three tight ends on the field. Ruckert, he's kind of lined up in that fullback type blocking spot. We do see it. We see it in now in this the modern day NFL, if you will, with guys like you see Patrick Ricard or Kyle Juszczyk. They tend to line up in that spot. Jeremy
H
Ruckert.
back. Yeah.
Yep, yeah, H back. He seems to be the H back fullback for the Jets this season, given that they cut Nick Bottom this summer. But watch this rep here. They it's a 1 yard gain, but look at that from Bates again. I think that's a hold, an uncalled hold, and he just gets simply beat. And the guy just goes low on him. He doesn't adjust his footing. He tries to throw his hands. It whiffs like we've seen a lot from him this season. Luckily, he'll most likely be off the team in a couple weeks once Kenny Aboa comes back. Thoughts on that play?
Can you run it one more time? Because
Of
I,
course.
I didn't realize he was going for number zero. I thought he was just going to block 58. And,
Yeah, no, he ended up. So look, he
uh,
if we rewatch it, he kind of went for 58. Tried to defend against him, but he's like, no, I'm going for zero. So he kind of
he
cuts
over
across.
pursued him.
Yeah, over pursued, cuts across, and then literally zero just moves his feet, and then just boom, right to Braylon. Because look, he Bates is someone he showed he doesn't want to use his feet. We
Yeah.
especially saw last. Look, he just doesn't want to use his feet. And look at that right there. That's a perfect angle. Just simply gets beat. Doesn't want to move his feet. He wants to pull the guy back. And the best case scenario there, it's either you're either going to get something like that for no gain. There's a chance that Braylon's not expecting that guy to come off. You have 58-0 now in pursuit. There's a chance. First off, he fumbles the ball. I don't think that's a problem with Braylon because he has so much power. But so much that could go wrong with a holding call, perhaps, and then also just losing yards on that play. A terrible rep.
Uh,
Can't even go
you know,
low. Doesn't adjust
I
his
really
footing.
wish go like a frame or two back and like tell me
I'll
what
put it
it
in
would look
slow
like.
motion too.
I would like to like Braylon his vision. I wish he would have cut this left
Yeah,
behind. Yeah,
let's focus on
right.
Braylon here.
I know he likes getting north and south though,
But
but
look, there's no
one
there's
more
no gap there.
no one more and then yeah, there's not really.
See, there's no even if you go back a little. Here, if you watch this, look,
Bates
15.
got to pick up that block.
Yeah, Bates has to pick that up, but also Conklin got a bad jump on 15. It's not his fault, but he can't cut outside. Two's waiting right there. I think that's Simpson. Simpson would have got killed. And 58-0 are both there, so
You
it's the
got two
tight ends.
guys
It's
for
the
two
same old
guys,
story. It's
and
the tight
neither
ends. Yeah.
one. Yeah, and you got two guys there blocking 58-0, and I don't think either of those guys are blocked.
Yep.
It should be 22 down here versus Braylon one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that play should be.
Absolutely. Yeah, I completely
I don't
agree.
think Olu has his guy either, to be honest.
Uh, Olu, here's the thing. Olu, there are scenarios where the guys just face the complete opposite way, but Olu does a great job of holding his guy in place. Even if he gets beat, he does a great job of adjusting his footing, getting outside, buying time. I think that's the best thing. I think my favorite thing, the thing I like most about Olu is when we saw it in the preseason a lot. We saw it, against the Patriots as well, against the Broncos. A lot of guys try to hit him with the long arm move, extend out, and then just push off, cut right to the outside. But what Olu's shown is he does a great job of just anchoring down, sitting, and absorbing the bull rush. And that's what you need to be a successful tackle in this league. But we do have one more play left before we let everyone go, and it was the play right after that. It was the very controversial 4th and 2, Jets trailing 10-0. And they decide we're not going to put the points on the board. We are going to go for it on 4th and 2. And look at this play. I think you're in a scenario like that, you should go for it. It's just a terrible play call when you think about
Yeah.
it. If
Pistol?
if exactly pistol, if I could draw it up, what I would do, I'd have Rogers go under center. Well, first off, I'd have Garrett Wilson on the field and Irv Charles off the field.
Yeah.
They had Irv
That
Charles on the field. I mean, look at that, Irv Charles right there. What I would have done, Bates. Look at the way he's lined up. Terrible positioning. So what I would do if I was Robert Saleh, I was Nathaniel Hackett in this scenario, put Rodgers under center, Brees in the backfield, kind of like a play action halfback sprint, if you will, where he kind of holds the ball out with one hand. His classic guitar fake, cuts outside. You have the options now. You have two of your three. I would have put Conklin on the field probably as well, taken Charles off and probably taken Bates off as well. You have Ruckert and Conklin there. They can both dash across the right hand side of the field. Now Rodgers has options. He has Garrett. He has Garrett here. Well, it should have been Garrett. He would have Garrett down there, and then it would be Ruckert, and then Conklin would both cut that way. And then you have options there with Aaron Rodgers. That's what I would have done. I just think this is a terrible play call. Like you said, pistol formation, Braylon Allen. The run blocking, run prediction's been terrible. Bates cuts across. Again, look, completely whiffs. Look at that.
That's embarrassing.
Look at that right there. Right there. Completely whiffs. And look, he doesn't even move his feet.
I forget, it might have been Orlovsky. Someone broke this down, and it's like, give Braylon a chance.
Exactly.
He has 1.5 yards to go, but he has to travel 11 to get it. Like, can we not just go to I formation for a play like this? Or
yeah, I mean, look how far back he's lined up. 11 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Yeah, exactly.
It's easy for me to crap on it though because we didn't get it, but I still don't, like you said, I don't agree with the play call. I just don't.
I mean, and Dane, where do you? I'll do it one more time before we wrap up here. I mean, look at that from Bates. The thing I don't like about Bates is he won't even move his feet. It's just lazy.
Yeah.
It's not even a talent thing. It's just lazy. I think he is a talented young player. That's just lazy. He's not adjusting his footing, and he got burned so many times. What I will say though is the offensive play calling. I never knew it was this bad. Like I always had a feeling that the play calling was not, not great. We saw it a lot last year, but I had no idea it was going to be this bad. Even when Rodgers came in and was the team and is the quarterback now, it is so bad. And Dayton, what do you think is the best case scenario? Do you? I don't think you can have solid call plays. What do you do? Todd Downing?
You know, I don't even know that I care like what the play is. For me, there's a big problem with uh, who we're having on the field in certain sets. Like you said, it's fourth down, a critical one, and you pull Garrett Wilson off the field.
Mm-hmm.
It highly tips your hand what you're doing, and that's fine. If you want to say I'm running it down your throat, that's fine. But
Yep.
like be in goal line formation.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be in pistol. Like
Yeah,
it's
exactly. Line up under center. Exactly. That's
it
the
is
play. Yeah.
so
Predictable.
frustrating, and I give these guys the benefit of doubt because ultimately these players got to make plays. Quincy made half a play, but that's not a play. That's a half a
Yep.
play. Sauce, like you said, that ball, and Will McDonald busts a great spin move. I feel like these guys that we know they need to learn how to win, right? But when winning is in front of them, they get a little you know. So that they'll calm down, they'll settle in, but like Quincy, you run that back. Sauce, you pick that off. Will McDonald, you sacked the quarterback there. We're not even talking about Braylon or the play calling at all. But
Yep.
also, just get the guy in I formation and hand it to your bull, and you get that as well. You
Exactly.
get that.
Yeah. I completely agree, and you just gotta hope it something clicks in this organization, and something changes in time for Monday night. And the Jets are still live dogs. It's crazy to think they've had so many opportunities, and they just continuously shoot themselves in the foot. And now they have yet another opportunity for first place in the AFC East through 6 weeks of the NFL season. So it's just crazy to think. But Dane, I appreciate it. And the final question, first time actually having you on as a guest here on the show. Final question I ask to everyone. For dinner guests, anyone in the world, dead or alive, who are you taking?
I wish I thought of this sooner. I'm gonna do it on the fly though. Larry David for sure.
Are you a Curb Your Enthusiasm fan?
And sign all of it. Everything
Okay.
Larry touches is gold to me. Okay,
Okay.
love him, love him. I might have to have. Let's see. Maybe I go Cal Ripken. Big fan of him.
Like it. Are you an Orioles
Um,
fan?
no, but like turn of the century baseball. As a kid,
Yep.
I didn't like. I loved the Indians. I loved the Braves. I just loved good baseball.
The game, yeah.
And yes, um, I want to lean away from sports. So
Yeah, it could be a family member, it could be anything.
good point. I'd say my mom. Okay, sorry,
Okay.
got to include. I know
Yeah.
you guys don't know her, but just take my word for it. um, Probably another comedian. I don't know. Put Jerry Seinfeld in it because them two
Ooh.
together, dude. I just watch them cook. You know, watch them
Dane,
cook.
Dane, we appreciate you. Got any final thoughts?
Um, like I said, man, the more we like, yes, the East is up for grabs, but the messier it gets, because we're all gonna beat each other, right?
Yep.
We none of us may have a chance at a wild card. That is just a real thing because if we all go 3-3 in a division, none of our records are gonna look good. So I would prepare like you don't have a wild card chance in hell, and just handle the East, dude. Just focus on the East, and that starts Monday. Handle yourself from now until Monday, and then handle the
Absolutely.
Bills.
Yeah, absolutely. The hope is, like I said, that something clicks over this week of practice, and the Jets go out, beat the Bills, and take control and
Not far
roam
away.
the AFC somehow at a record of 500, 3-3. It feels like the way we're talking about this team right now, they're 1-4, perhaps 0-5. However, they still, like I said, have another chance as they host the Buffalo Bills on Monday Night Football this week. Hopefully, Dane, maybe we could do something, wink wink weekly maybe on our
Yeah,
shows, doing these
dude,
film
this was fun.
breakdowns. Yeah, yeah, I
I like
really
this.
enjoyed it, and I'll probably be back doing this on my show next week. Hopefully, it is with you, Dane. Everyone, smash that like button, and make sure you are subscribed to both channels at Dayne O Jets at NY Flight Jetstock. Alongside Dano, I am your host Connor Long, signing off. Jets, Jets, Jets.